Hello and welcome to Access Asia here on France 24. Coming up, Tokyo will allow up to 10,000 domestic fans into Olympic venues. But that could change if the number of COVID cases in Japan rapidly increases. New Zealand's Laurel Hubbard will be the first ever transgender athlete to compete at the Olympics. Her inclusion, though, has drawn mixed reactions. And China's plastic problem. We'll look at how the world's most populous country is trying to curb pollution while still feed its massive economy. Now, despite warnings from health bosses, thousands of Japanese spectators will be allowed to attend events at this summer's Olympic Games. Fans will not be permitted to shout or speak loudly and must wear face masks at all times while in the venues. However, government officials said they would consider tightening the restrictions if there should be a rapid increase in COVID infections. Andrew Hillier has more.
After months of speculation, a decision has finally been made. There will be spectators in attendance at Japan's Olympic venues, but each venue will be capped at 50% of its capacity, up to a maximum limit of 10,000 fans. Those caps come after organisers had already decided to ban overseas spectators from venues. Together, Japanese officials hope the moves will reassure the public that the Olympic Games can take place in safety, despite fears that it could trigger a resurgence in coronavirus cases.
We will consider either cancelling or minimising live areas and public viewing areas to control people's movements. On top of that, we will also reassess related events so that we can propose safer ways to support athletes despite coronavirus.
Officials have also left open the possibility of banning spectators if a state of emergency is declared. Tokyo's Olympic Games have been plagued by controversy since they were pushed back by 1 year. Polls show that public opinion is mainly against holding the Games, and health experts have advised banning fans from venues altogether. But organisers insist the Games can be held in safety and point to high levels of vaccination in the Olympic Village as proof.
I can give you some good news there also from our side, and that concerns the vaccination rate with regard to the participants. So for the residents of the Olympic villages, it will be well above 80%.
Tokyo had been in a state of emergency up until June 20th to combat a surge in coronavirus cases. Although some measures have been rolled back, the capital, along with several other prefectures, have decided to keep some restrictions in place until at least 2 weeks before the opening ceremony. Japan's slow vaccine rollout has also complicated efforts to host the Games. Only roughly 6% of Japan's population is fully vaccinated against the virus.
Now, one person set to compete in the Games is New Zealand's Laurel Hubbard. As a weightlifter, she's used to carrying heavy burdens, but she'll be bearing a weight unlike any other athlete in Tokyo. That's because Hubbard is set to become the first ever transgender person to compete at the Olympic Games. Emerald Maxwell has more.
It's a seismic decision that's proving divisive. Weightlifter Laurel Hubbard will be the first transgender athlete to compete in the Olympics, having been selected to represent New Zealand in the Tokyo Games.
This is a historic moment in sport and for the New Zealand team.
Hubbard was born male and competed as a man before transitioning to female in 2013. In a statement, she thanked New Zealanders for their kindness and support, continuing that it had carried her through the darkness and get back to the sport after an injury. The shy and softly spoken weightlifter will compete in the women's 87 kilogram plus category, where she's ranked 16th in the world. Allowing her to compete in the women's category raises complex issues of fairness, identity, science and human rights, and has made for an often toxic debate.
We do know that there are many questions about fairness of transgender athletes competing in the Olympic Games, but I would like to take this opportunity to remind us all that Laurel has met all of the required criteria.
IOC rules state a trans woman can compete provided her testosterone levels are below 10 nanomoles per litre for at least 12 months before her first competition, a criteria Hubbard meets. But critics say she has physical advantages over female-born athletes from growing up male.
Males do have a performance advantage that's based on their biological sex. That begins in utero, where the testosterone advantage begins. Picking testosterone is a red herring. I mean, we're forgetting about the anatomy, the fast-twitch muscle, the bigger organs. They have faster recovery, they have stronger bones, they don't have a tilted pelvis, so they're less likely to get knee and ankle injuries.
Advocates for transgender inclusion argue the process of transition decreases male advantage considerably, and that physical differences between athletes mean there's never truly a level playing field. The IOC has consistently said it's committed to inclusion, but the organisation is also reviewing its guidelines, which are expected to be released after the Tokyo Games.
Well, China is the world's largest producer and consumer of plastic products. However, last year, a series of new laws went into effect aimed at reducing pollution, encouraging research, and finding alternatives to plastic. Anna Hartley and Charles Pellegrin take a look at whether these goals are realistic and if China is really ready to clean up its act.
In China, recycling has long been the domain of trash pickers and scrap traders. But since 2019, residents in major cities have been required to sort their household waste or risk being fined. Private businesses like Our Bag have also popped up to help. Users pay a small joining fee and can earn money by returning clean, odourless recyclables to their 24-hour drop stations.
You put the recycling bag with the other plastic items in the station, scan the QR code on the bag and link it to your account. The bag drops automatically. You can bring the bag home for another round of recycling.
From eco-conscious young people to frugal pensioners, the Our Bag user base is broad.
It's much more convenient than sending to rubbish collectors. I can put recycling items here anytime I want.
And can you sell more kinds of items here?
Yes, a lot more, and the station is quite nearby.
Our Bag has also found a way to reduce costs.
Because the residents sort out their waste themselves, we save manpower and time. It really improves our efficiency.
China's dependence on mobile technology has provided another advantage. Thanks to QR tracing, Our Bag can give users feedback when they have submitted an item that does not meet requirements. This keeps the quality of their materials high.
If we don't give users feedback after deploying these recycling systems, users won't know if they have made mistakes in waste separation. Our Bag wants people to learn.
And the government couldn't be happier, investing in businesses like Our Bag to pick up the waste sorting slack. One highly visible result of the new laws is the phasing out of single-use plastic items. In 2020, China's food delivery industry served an estimated 17 billion orders. But major platforms now require customers to opt in for disposable cutlery.
You have to choose before you make the order is whether you choose to have cutlery or not. So I like to use as less plastic as I can, so I just choose not to, and then now I can pay.
This small action also helps to raise awareness in a country that has been slow to engage with environmental issues.
When it started popular, I really like it. I ordered quite a lot because it's just so convenient. But later on, I just realized I got more and more plastic boxes, especially every meal. I just threw a lot of trash to the trash bin, and that really worries me. But I do think young people, especially well-educated young people, pay attention to that, and they're happy to follow the rules.
But raising awareness among consumers is just one small piece of the puzzle in the war against plastic pollution. Professor Wan is one of the minds behind China's plastics policy. And while he's proud of the progress the country has made, he believes more can be done.
The enforcement of this policy lags behind sometimes. We don't have a long-term dynamic mechanism to guarantee the implementation at this time. We can say that some sectors still haven't done enough to deal with plastic pollution. For example, the food delivery industry and the courier industry. Both industries are large-scale in China, and they are growing rapidly, making it difficult to tackle the plastic pollution they generate.
And for those who have been implementing the new regulations in good faith, it's been a complicated process. Plastic straws have been completely banned since January this year. The owner of this smoothie store has modified their product line to keep customers happy.
We began using paper straws to replace plastic straws in October last year. We developed a product that can be drunk without a straw in our R&D process. We are now using bottle packaging without straws, and we use recyclable PET packaging.
But a nation addicted to takeaway has not always reacted well.
I prefer plastic straws. The paper straw will dissolve in the water after a long time.
The new straws also cost 5 to 6 times more than plastic ones. But for Mr. Gao, the move is still worth it.
We did not suffer financially because of the policy. The transition has been smooth. We business owners understand, and so do our customers.
Meanwhile, some 1.5 million tonnes of plastic waste flows into the ocean from the Yangtze River alone each year. Among the government's next challenges will be trying to reverse the effects of decades of pollution.
And finally, what has rosy cheeks and jet fuel shooting out its rear? Well, the answer is, of course, a Pikachu-themed plane, the product of a partnership between Pokemon and Japan's low-cost airline Skymark. Now, similar collaborations are in store for non-Japanese airlines as well, including Singapore-based Scoot. This year, Pokemon marks its 25th anniversary, and on board this plane is a special surprise in the 25th row featuring Pikachu and a bunch of balloons. So hardcore fans, you may want to book your seats early to sit in that room. Well, that's it for this edition. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned to France 24.
France 24. Every art form.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.